Alright, so welcome to the 6 Years of Magic Tour. My name is Nikki and this is Neil. We're going with an N theme today, so we get that.
Exactly.
So this is going to be about a 90-minute walking tour. We're going to head through the 3 hotel properties, the Disneyland Hotel, Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, as well as the downtown Disney District. And what we're going to show you is how our resort has grown and changed over the course of 6 years, all our magic and pixie dust. As you can see, every day we have something new going on, something else is growing and expanding. Because Disneyland is never going to be completed as long as there's imagination left in the world, right? It's a famous Walt Disney quote. Speaking of Walt Disney's verbs and vernaculars, has anyone heard of the word the berm? It's a very popular word. The berm? B-E-R-M. Heard the term? It's a very popular term here at the Disneyland Resort. So what the berm is, it's a high-rising area around each land. Have you ever noticed that when you're in Fantasyland, you have no idea that the future is right next door? Or when you're in Frontierland, you know, there's no way that you would know that a giant castle is right in front of you, and no way to know that princesses are waiting for you. So what the berm does is it really contains magic inside each land, so that when you're in Frontierland, you know you're in Frontierland. When you're in Fantasyland, you know it's going to be a good magical time, right? So what Walt Disney really wanted was to keep all his magic within, you know, to grow and expand, push the berm and push the berm. As you know, we used to be just one theme park. We were just Disneyland, and then we were the Disneyland Hotel. And Walt kept his dream going and kept wanting to grow and expand the berm. So he thought, you know, he had this beautiful, amazing park where guests could go and play all day, and at the end of the day, they would have to go home. Not exactly the most fun, right? And there were, you know, other hotels in the area, but he knew he wanted something very special and something extra magical for his guests. So he partnered with his partner, Jack Rather of the Rather Corporation, and the Disneyland Hotel was born. So as you know, Walt is no longer with us, and he only actually walked on the properties of Disneyland Theme Park and Disneyland Hotel, but we keep his innovations going, you know, keep growing and expanding, keeping his words to heart, and that's how we became Disneyland Resort today. So what we're going to do is really dive on into our magic. Neil is going to kick us off on the first part of our tour at the Disneyland Hotel, and let's get started. Along the way, just for safety, we will be doing some bathroom breaks, doing some water breaks if you need it, and then this whole tour is ADA accessible, so we have different ramps we can utilize. Just make sure everyone's nice and comfortable. But let's go ahead and kick off.
So if you have any questions, let Nikki or myself know. If we don't know the answer, we'll find the answer. Okay, between the two of us, I think we can cover most of the question. Also, if we're walking too fast or walking too slow, let us know so that we can stay together as a group. Okay. Now, as Nikki said, Walt Disney partnered with Jack Rather, and he created the Disneyland Hotel because Walt Disney was very concerned about how people were, because they drove from miles and miles to get here and celebrate and have fun in the park. And then they were tired, so they needed a place where they could go home and spend the night. So we're going to go on this imaginative journey and talk about the Disneyland Hotel, how it has evolved to what you see today. And we're going to go ahead and move on over towards our swimming pool area, and we can start talking about how things have changed from 1955 to today. So, welcome to the Disneyland Hotel. Now, the Disneyland Hotel, I'm sure you can guess, does not look like it does today what it did back in 1955. We know that the Disneyland Park opened on July 17, 1955, and just a few short months later, October 5th, 1955, we opened up the Disneyland Hotel. When we opened up the Disneyland Hotel, it was more of a motor inn. It was 2 stories, and we had a total of 7 rooms. We actually had 8 rooms, but the 8th room was used for our administrative staff, our front of house staff, our clerical, so that they could do all the paperwork and everything in that 8th room. But it has grown to what you see today, almost 1,000 different rooms, 3 different towers. Okay? Now the Disneyland Hotel, there's a lot of firsts that occurred here when Walt Disney first created it. Now Walt Disney was big in the entertainment field, and does anybody remember the Disneyland Hotel from the last few years? Big changes.
Yes.
Okay. Some of the biggest changes that you might think of is the original swimming pool is where the AMC Theater is in the downtown Disney district, and that was more the front of the front of the tower. Here was the front of the hotel. We moved everything. We had back here where the swimming pool is today. We actually had a cement pond, okay, where you could go fishing. You could also rent little motorboats or little paddle boats, and we even have pictures of that today. Now the thing about the pond also is that we would truck in 5,000 to 7,000 fish, and you could go fishing here, okay? And we had cast members here that would assist you in baiting your hook and teaching you how to throw that perfect catch. The best thing about it, no license was required, no fishing license. We also had cast members that would take photos of you, similar to our PhotoPass cast members today, and that way you could send a picture back home and tell all your family and friends that you were fishing at the Disneyland Resort. The other thing that was exciting is, how many of us have visited a drive-thru restaurant before? You don't have to get out of your car, isn't that the best? Well, we had that here as well. We had drive-thru registration. You could drive up, the cast member would come out, greet you, sign the paperwork, and off you go to your motor into your hotel room. We also had a lot of other firsts here, and at one time we actually had a heliport here that would whisk our guests between Los Angeles International Airport and the Disneyland Resort, drop them off here, and then pick them up and fly them back to LAX a few days later. But that's gone because of air traffic laws and the air traffic rules. But that was right above our convention center over here, right behind you guys. Okay. The other thing is, has anyone seen that fantastic World of Color show yet? Yes. Great show, right? Okay. Now, way back when, we used to have a prelude to it. We had our dancing waters. And the dancing waters, if you're not staying here at the hotel, is in the far back right-hand corner of the hotel. It's a planter box today, and we would have the waters go on every night, and they would dance to music and colored lights, similar to the World of Color today. And then one thing that we were big about was environmentality. And the Walt Disney and the Disneyland Hotel was one of the first hotels in the nation that had solar panels. And it was on the Bonita Tower, which is the Frontier Tower now. The Bonita Tower was the far back tower. And that was the first, one of the first top 10 hotels in the nation with solar heating. It just recently was dismantled. About 2010 is when we dismantled it because we did not find it was as effective as the way we are heating our water today. We also had another first that was fantastic, and Walt Disney really believed in the idea of family conventioning. With family conventioning, if you think back in the 50s and the 60s, most of the time it was the father who would come here to the Disneyland Resort and go to the convention. What was the mom and the kids going to do? They would go play in the theme park. Isn't that great? And then at the end of the day, the convention would be over, the family would be done with the theme park, they would meet together and have family time here at the Disneyland Resort. The other thing we're a big forefront is safety. And we really looked at safety for our guests, especially our smaller ones, okay? Now, being a small guest here at the Disneyland Park, it used to be if you were 12 and under, you were free. So we had a lot of families that would come with their children. But one thing is, if you think about your restroom and the bathrooms here at the hotel, we had heaters, and we changed the heaters out from the quartz heaters to where we have different heaters to where the kids can't touch them. And also the glassware that you drink out of, it used to sit on the sink. We actually moved them up into the medicine cabinet so the smaller children would not play with them and break their hands. So there were a lot of firsts that went on here. And as we said, as Nikki said, Jack Rather helped design this hotel, and it was all based on the entertainment industry. If you have the opportunity, across from our ballroom, right straight back, we have, since we saluted our birthday with Walt Disney this year in the Disneyland Hotel, we put up pictures of Jack Rather and his wife Bonita. We also put up pictures of the Disneyland Hotel of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And you can see how we have evolved from one motor inn to 3 large towers. And if you also look at the hotel here, it's also a salute to our original Disneyland park. Each of our towers are named after one of our original lands. We have the Fantasy Tower, Fantasyland, the Adventure Tower, Adventureland, and the final Frontier Tower, Frontierland, okay? And then, of course, our swimming pool. Can anybody guess what our swimming pool is after? Tomorrowland. There's that monorail slide where you can go down and have the greatest time of your life. And we're going to step right out onto the other side of the tower. So here we are on the other side of the Adventure Tower. And Nikki talked about the berm, and this is a perfect example of the berm. If you sit there and think about it, on the other side of this tower is the swimming pool. Could you tell that? You can't hear it, you don't see anybody coming there, and you really don't know that's going on. And when we were on the other side of the tower, did you ever realize that Downtown Disney was over here? Now today we have construction going on, and we hear the construction, but for the most part, all these trees, one, they represent Adventureland, and two, they also represent a fantastic berm. Normally without that construction going on, you don't even know Downtown Disney is out here, let alone the theme park. And that's how we keep all the magic here. Now, we all love the magic about the Disneyland Resort, and that's what this is all about, is the magic that comes in here to us every day. The way that we keep the outside world out. Now, one thing, the reason we stop here is This was not the original size of the Disneyland Hotel. It was actually about half the size of this. And we had, where the double pillar is on the left-hand side over here, we had a glass elevator that would whisk you up to the top floor, and it was called the Top of the Park, and it's normally for Walt Disney and his friends and family to entertain and look out over the theme park area. But with that, with the construction, we could not put the word up Disneyland Hotel. The letters were too big and the elevator was in the way, so we had to rename it Hotel Disneyland. But with the reconstruction, the reimagination, we were able to remove the elevator, which was just recently removed in 2009, 2010. We removed that glass elevator and we were able to expand it to Disneyland Hotel. So we had the full words on it. The letters on top of the hotel, they're actually 8 feet tall, so they're a story tall, and that's how large they were, so they could be seen throughout Anaheim and really throughout Orange County for the most part. And so the original thing was everything that was here was in front of the Disneyland Hotel. As I said, the swimming pool is where the AMC Theater was. We had the dancing waters. We had games. The monorail, most people think we've moved the monorail. The monorail has never moved when that came in 1959. What that did, it connected the Disneyland Hotel to the theme parks. But with the reimagination, we moved everything back behind the hotel. So as you remember as a youngster, okay, we had Goofy's Kitchen at the bottom of the monorail. We had Stromboli's next to it, and the Monorail Cafe. So the Monorail Cafe is gone. Stromboli's is now Goofy's Kitchen, which is in the back over here. So we've done some remodeling that you wouldn't even be able to tell. So you can see how we've continued to evolve. So as we're going to head out of the jungle, we're going to head over towards something a little more modern, at Paradise Pier Hotel. Think of the berm here. As we walk by, look towards downtown Disney, for the most part, you're not going to be able to see it because it's keeping that outside world out. Okay, and if you think about all that fantasy, we want to remember the fantasy inside and not the outside world. Okay? You don't see the planes, you don't see the birds. Okay, we really do have a bubble over us.
This is our Rose Court Garden. Some days we're not able to bring the tour this way because we do have, as we were talking about, our fairy tale weddings. So this is one of the main locations of our fairy tale weddings. We do have, beautiful events throughout this whole entire area, and usually it is kind of blocked off, so we detour, but today is a great calm day, so you can just see the real beauty of it. But let's get back into Paradise, which is what we are talking about. So with Disneyland growing and changing, outside companies did kind of notice it, and they thought it's a pretty good idea. So just a few short steps down from the Disneyland Hotel, a company called the Tokyo Corp opened the Emerald of Anaheim in 1985. So as you look out today, you say, that's not the Emerald of Anaheim. It is hidden by a tree right now, which is great. But that's actually Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel. So we were talking about earlier how... You want to jump in? So we were talking earlier about that berm and how, Disneyland just keeps growing and changing as long as there's imagination. So Walt Disney once compared Disneyland to a piece of clay. Not exactly a toy, not Play-Doh that he could play with, but something he could really, mold and shape. And he didn't have to stay with an idea if he didn't like it. So growing that berm, it wasn't just our company, the Walt Disney Company that really took part in it. However, as we look out today and we see Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, you can kind of tell it's gone through quite a bit of change. So just a few short years later, the Emerald of Anaheim actually merged with another company, Pan Pacific Hotels, and get ready for this very clever name, renamed it the Pan Pacific Hotel. I know, I can't even
original.
So clever, right? Just beautiful and clever. But as we make our way to Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, not the Pan Pacific Hotel, we'll talk about how our adventure with the Paradise Pier began. And as we do walk over there, do take in the foliage as well. We just exited the jungle, we're exiting our Rose Court Garden, but as we walk into Paradise, do take a look at the beautiful palm trees, our singing birds of paradise. Everything's really in bloom right now, so it's a good time for the tour. Let's dive on in. And then we do have a nice little hidden gazebo over here as well, which is a really beautiful opportunity for photos during your vacation.
Exactly. If you're still a traditionalist, I would use Kelly.
famous had, Tramp Clown, that was the circus I was doing at the time. So, but I had these elephants, and when the elephants came out, he had positioned, as he was docking stage, he had positioned himself.
So before we dive on into talking about, or actually entering into Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, we're going to give a little backstory on it. So in 1995, Disney really saw the opportunity. As we know, we love to purchase things, whether it's Marvel or Lucasfilm, we love to buy. So in 1995, the Walt Disney Company actually purchased the Pan Pacific Hotel and renamed it the Disneyland Pacific Hotel. Again, that's not exactly what our sign says, right? So, just 5 years later, we had a brand new theme park coming in. We had Disney California Adventure coming in. And it just so happened that the Disneyland Pacific Hotel had a view right into a certain portion of California Adventure, which was the Paradise Pier, where we had some World of Color viewers, right? That's exactly where World of Color is, right there on Paradise Bay. So Disney being as magical as we are, and we love a good theme, we decided let's go ahead and reimagine our hotel to really match that Paradise Pier. So we renamed ourselves Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, and as we do enter the hotel, do take in the decor, and you'll notice that is an exact reflection of the Paradise Pier in Disney California Adventure. Welcome to Paradise. So as you can see, from the moment you enter Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, you can kind of already get that beachy environment. The colors are a little lighter, everything feels a little more fun. You can listen, you can hear some instrumental music that can really give you that boardwalk feel. And you'll actually recognize some of the songs as some instrumental Beach Boys music. Surfer Girl plays throughout our lobby. This is actually my home. Disney's Paradise Pier is my baby. This is where I work throughout the week, so I have a lot of passion for it, as you can see. And then one of the things I love most about during the summertime is we actually pump in the scent of coconut to really calm your senses and welcome you into paradise. Has anyone ever stayed here at Disneyland? Yes. Alright, so another thing about the hotel really pulling in that theme is you'll notice as you walk up to your hotel room, you'll see that the carpet below you is mimicking those beachy waves. We have the different swirling patterns. There's actually some hidden Mickeys in it if you notice. And then once you get into your room, you're stepping onto that sandy shore. It's a little more plush and rigid, so you will notice it's a mix out of sand. And on the walls behind you, you will notice that there is a little bit of art. So a lot of people always ask us, I haven't seen the 15 shots for 25 cents or the Tunnel of Love. Where is it? So it is just concept art. It was made for our guests and our cast members to kind of get a taste of what that California Adventure Paradise Pier was going to be. And although we don't have a Tunnel of Love or beautiful hot dog stand like that, I'm pretty proud of the Paradise Pier we have today. So as we make our way through the lobby, just kind of take in those beachy feels. On our left-hand side, you will see our sandcastle room, which is a little cartoon reel for the children. We have a little bit of beach chairs. We're going to make our way into the hotel lobby and be greeted by one of our friends. He's a little goofy. I don't know if Yeah,
Thank you. Oh, ye of little faith.
It's functions really heavily during the summer, but it's very likely in the fall, but it's very calming right now. People always ask us if it's sunscreen, but I think it's really just whatever we're used to now. So welcome to our hotel lobby. As you can see, our friend here welcomes our guests in, ready for a serve. We always get a lot of questions too about his outfit, but I mean, what would Goofy be if he was just in something regular, right? He's very concerned with sun safety. That's why he is wearing a turtleneck at the beach. And as you look up, you do see that our hotel is quite tall. So we do have 15 stories, but something very special here about Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel is the presence of a 13th floor. Now the number 13 is pretty big in our company. Does anyone know the address of Disneyland? 1313 Harbor Boulevard. Does anyone know the 13th letter in the alphabet? Yeah, go for it. M? Yes, it is. So MM 1313 Mickey Mouse. And something pretty cool here about this hotel is there is the presence of a 1313 hotel room. Now, not only is that reflective of our friend Mickey Mouse, but on every Friday the 13th, one family is chosen to be family 1313, and they're actually escorted up to their hotel room by a Tower of Terror, or Twilight Zone Tower of Terror bellhop. Once they get up to the room itself, the amenities have been completely rethemed to meet that of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Now, a lot of people ask when they're checking in on Friday the 13th, can we be family 1313, please? Let it be us. But just like those drops of Twilight Zone's Tower of Terror, this comes as a complete surprise. Another cool thing about this hotel, if you'll take a look around, you're thinking, where's the pool deck? So this hotel is actually the only hotel where the pool is not on the ground floor. It's actually on the 3rd floor. There is a pool deck. It feels a little bit like a private beach, and every night that we do have our fireworks, we actually have a fireworks viewing station up there with the speaker set up to really bring in that music. So that even if you're here for business or you're not going to be able to join us in the theme park, you can still get that immersive experience. We do have some California locals. So does anyone know what the PCH stands for? Pacific Coast Highway. So the PCH Grill is much of that. So it's supposed to really mimic that Pacific Coast Highway. You know, the different dazzling views of Southern California. The night cuisine actually reflects if you were driving down the PCH, the different places you would stop along the way. And in the morning, we do have Surf's Up, which is character dining with the big cheese himself, our boss Mickey Mouse. So this is the only location that does guarantee Mickey Mouse dining, but if you ever have a chance to check out our character dining, we do have 2 different locations on our hotel properties. So we have Mickey's Kitchen at the Disneyland Hotel, which is Mickey and his friends. We have obviously the PCH Grill Surfs Out with Mickey and his friends. And then at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, we have our character dining with Chip and Dale. The Chipmunks at Sir Chiller's Cafe. Yeah. So if you do have time and you're not staying on, or not heading into the theme parks, or if you're not even staying on property, you can always do those options if you want to add a little magic to your morning. But at this time, we are going to head out to Disney's Grand California, and Neil is going to take over.
As we do leave the area, look at the palm trees that are lining the street here on Disneyland Drive. You can see how that welcomes you to our Southern California Paradise Pier Hotel. When we cross the street, we're going to be crossing the street, you'll see tree lines, but they're different trees. They're northern pines. They're pine trees. Also, it's a hand-quarried stone gateway that welcomes our guests into the Grand California Hotel and Spa. The other thing that's fantastic about Disney's Grand California Hotel and Spa, it is the first hotel that was owned, operated, designed, and built by the Walt Disney Company. We had no other people assist us, meaning it was not owned prior by another hotel, or like Jack Rather owned the Disneyland Hotel and he had a lot of assistance. So this was all completely imagined by our Disneyland Imagineers. So that's something we're very proud of the whole fact on that. So we're going to go ahead and cross the street, and as we cross the street at the stoplight, you can see the distance, how the trees kind of represent, sort of think of it like Yosemite National Park or the Grand Canyon. Okay, and that's what it kind of represents, are those lodges that are in the National Park Spa. Now, Disney's Grand California Hotel and Spa was not one of the original hotels here on property. It was built and completed in 2001. And when we completed the hotel, it actually ended pretty much where we're standing here today. It was designed by an architect named Peter Dominic, and Peter Dominic created this arts and crafts movement here. And the arts and crafts movement is where we bring nature from the outside into the area. So that's what we did here with the arts and crafts movement. For those of you that are Florida fans, hello, Walt Disney World, the Grand Floridian was designed by Peter Dominic. And the Grand Floridian is your Victorian style. Okay, I drew a blank for a minute there. Your Victorian style hotel. But this is arts and crafts. So I like to say that we kept him in the family and he redesigned it. So when we were looking to expand, we have the Disney Vacation Club. Now we have the Disney Vacation Club in Florida plus other locations throughout the world. We were looking to expand to the West Coast. And we expanded here on Disney's Grand California Hotel and Spa. Now where we expanded was the wing to my left, your right for most of you. That was the wing where we added 200 additional vacation club rooms. Okay? Now what's nice about it, there are suites in there with kitchenettes, plus there's regular rooms for our Disney Vacation Club members. Now, if you're interested in becoming a Disney Vacation Club, if you'd like to know more about it, we do have somebody that will assist you on that. Of course, we have that. But one thing that's interesting about this hotel is that the Disney Vacation Club The hotel was completed in 2001. It wasn't until about 6 years later when we brought in the vacation club. And it ended right here. But if you look on that beam going across, you see that letter like the letter Z. That's where the original hotel ended, and that's where we added the new wing for the Disney Vacation Club. If you look at the wooden slabs, they're pretty much the same. However, they are a little different in shape and size, and also a little bit in color. But it still maintained that arts and crafts movement. Now, one of the biggest questions that we get asked, are the rocks here real? Most of the rocks here are real, and the way you can tell is by touching them. If you touch them and they're cold, they're real. If you touch them and they're room temperature, they're man-made. Okay? So that's one of our little secrets. Also, think of that, the 6 to 8 feet plus rule. If it's 6 feet or higher, 8 feet or higher, man-made. You just touch the rocks, okay, and they're cold, those are real rocks, okay? And they were kind of put together how you would build like the pyramids. They were stacked on each other, but of course for safety they are intertwined with rods so that they don't come falling down, plus the cement and everything. And that is how we brought the outside world in. Behind us is the Mariposa pool, and that's just something that's relatively new as well. When we built this additional wing, we brought in the Mariposa pool, which we'll talk about in a few minutes as well. We're going to enter into the grand lobby, and the grand lobby, as we look around, you'll see different portions of really how it sounds. Grand, big. And we'll talk about that right inside. Okay. Questions? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and step inside to the grand lobby.
Where do you see it looks different on one side versus the other?
If you look at the slats here, the wood slats, okay, there's a little difference in the ones on this side, but they're still the same color, the same style, the same architecture.
It's all English to cover on that side.
Right down here.
Tell you that with the ground tour. You might have the side.
And so we start going to have the two tours intermingle. So you fill out the folder, go a little higher. So why you guys go like walking and more room time on the screen. And that's the now we'll walk as you can see, we are inside the grand lobby of course, the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. And one thing that we do like about this lobby is that, one, it does bring the outside in. If you look at it, we have 6 floors of rooms above us, but the rooms and the trees and the trussels are all represented. And then you notice it's a little darker in here, you don't have that bright sunlight coming in. If you think about it, we're the original bugs, just like Bugs Land, okay? We're small, the size of a bug, and these represent the trees as if they were giant redwoods, and that we are on the ground and we are shadowed by the trees. And if you notice the different beams, they look like roots. They're designed to make you feel like you are underneath the tree area. Okay? Wow. Now, one thing about the arts and crafts movement is that we're actually on the ground, and this is one of the few times you can actually step on a California poppy and nothing's going to happen. Okay? Now, everything in here is also designed to make you kind of feel like you're in your own family living room. We have smaller locations that are designed to be a little more intimate, so just like you have at your family area. So we have different areas. And of course we have our TV viewing area for our younger guests that can watch all things. One of the grand things about this hotel, or in this grand lobby area, is the hearth that you see here. Most people don't recognize it. It does look like a giant fireplace if you notice. And the walkway going across is your mantle, and then you see the giant fireplace there as well. It's a perfect place to go sit by the fire, and then right next door we have the Hearthstone Lounge where you can get that perfect appetizer or your specialty drink. If you listen to what's going on, we have our piano player. And what's he playing, of course? A grand piano. Okay. And here you can hear some of your favorite Disney music, or you can even request one of your favorite Disney songs. Now, all of the artwork in here, all of the designs, it is really designed with the arts and crafts movement. Now, we brought in modern day artisans to carry out that arts and crafts movement. So no two items are identical in here. We also do not sell any of our furniture, and we don't have anyone to make it for you because it is exclusive for the Disneyland Resort. Now, one thing a lot of people like is hidden Mickeys. If you look on the grand clock right over here, there is a hidden Mickey, and there's hidden Mickeys throughout every portion of the park that you walk through. It's really kind of exciting about this hotel, how it's all built, all designed by Disney Imagineers without the influence of another corporation or another company. So we're going to move on over towards the Breeze's Courtyard.
And then if you want to follow me there, Seth.
Oh, I'll go that way.
So she does kindergarten and that's bigger and
Now, when we opened up the Grand California Hotel and Spa, you'll hear me call it the Grand a lot, and I think most of you know who I'm referring to. It was originally called Disney's Grand California Hotel. Okay? We added the word spa when we added the Mandara Spa. When we first opened it, we had the Eureka Spring Spa, but it wasn't as grand as it is today, and it wasn't the owner and operator of the Mandara Spa. This is where you can come and get your facials, your body treatments, or just come and have a spa day. Okay, so we do that. Now, one thing we call this is the Las Breezes Courtyard, and if you look right back here in the courtyard, you can see the red brick panel, which kind of gives you that whirlwind effect. Las Breezes in Spanish, does anybody know what the word breezes means? Whirlwind, wind, exactly. And so as you're standing here, either on a really windy day, or sometimes when the monorail comes through, you can feel the wind, and it feels like a little small tornado, a little, kind of a wind tunnel. And if you stand on the middle there, it will not take you to the Emerald. We're not in Kansas. Okay, exactly. But it's a fantastic location, and a lot of guests will come out here and celebrate. The other thing is that when we did add on the vacation club area, we also added the Mariposa pool. And Mariposa stands for butterfly. And when you look at that swimming pool, on the gates and everything, we have other warrior bugs. For example, dragonflies that help protect that swimming pool area. With the addition of the Disney Vacation Club, that completed most of the expansion of the Disneyland area. We didn't call it the Disneyland Resort until we completed the expansion with our downtown Disney area. Now, one question that frequently comes in, why does the monorail not stop here at the location, at the Grand? One, it didn't fit in the arts and crafts movement. Two, it's such a short track, you'd get on it and stop, get on it and stop. And it was really not designed for it. So that's why we have the one stop in our downtown Disney district, and then we have the original stop in Tomorrowland. So you will see it go by, you will hear it go by, especially if you're staying in one of these courtyard rooms, but it does not make a stop here. So the only way into the theme park is either through the main gates, or as a hotel guest, you may have experienced it already, you can go through the Grand California Hotel and Spa. We have the gate dedicated to our hotel guests from park opening until 11 a.m. Then any guest can go through it afterwards. And if you are staying on property, you also have your early entry where you can go through the gate here in the park as well. And as we do walk out there, do look up at the light, and you'll see the clouds on the light, and they're blowing the wind. So that's how we come up with the Las Brisas name as well.
And you could pop it in the credit.
So here we have our entryway into our downtown Disney district. This is referred to as our Blue Moon Gate. The reason we call it the Blue Moon Gate, if you look on the far right-hand side, behind the gate, there's a blue moon. The funny thing is, we don't know the story behind it. And no one's created a story. We don't know why it was here, but we call it the Blue Moon Gate. And this is the entryway into, as you can see, the downtown Disney district. Now this gate is sometimes closed, and it would be exclusive to the hotel guests to go into the hotel using their room key. I don't see it closed very often. I think I've seen it closed maybe 5 times in the last 7 years. So, Disneyland is built on a lot of storytelling, and everything from the minute you walk in here is about storytelling. If you're staying on property, think about our rooms where you can watch your TV and have the music from the fireworks piped into your TV as you're watching the fireworks on TV. With the click of that TV remote, you can have a princess tell you a good night story. And what a better way to start your day than with one of our character dinings here and have breakfast, or better yet, have one of our favorite characters wake you up with a telephone call in the morning. But Disneyland is built on magic, fantasy, storytelling, and that's what we continue today. As you've noticed, we've changed over the last 60 years. Okay? And sometimes some of the things we change, well, just a little bit, right? Okay? Sometimes we sit there and think, why are we changing? My favorite attraction is gone, my favorite character is no longer here. But we continue to build and grow and change so that you continue to come back and make more memories more and more. Okay? We've created 60 years of magic so far, and we're hoping to create many, many more years of magic. So next time you're here, we might have Star Tours Land open. Okay? We might have another character. We have a new movie coming out. But you can see how we're changing constantly to evolve so that you too can change with us and make more memories.